Welcome to the gym. Okay, first I'm going to do some deadlifts. I actually am starting a new training cycle next week that I'm going to be programming for myself, which is pretty exciting. But this week has been a little bit of a transition between my little bit of a break week from after semis, and then next week is going to be my new programming. So I've kind of just been doing what feels good this week, trying to have a little bit of structure. But this is a little bit similar to what I'm going to be doing for the next 5 or 6 weeks and what I'm going to be programming for myself. So I've got deadlifts up first. I was going to make a joke that it feels like 100 degrees in here, and then I actually looked at the weather and it is in fact 93 degrees. Once I finished up with my deadlifts, I moved into benching, and I did a 10-8-6-4-2 rep scheme, which essentially you do a weight at each of those rep ranges that is fairly challenging but not quite to max, and then you build up to that heaviest set with just 2 reps at the end. And then week over week you increase each set at each rep range. And over time, you'll build strength and add a little bit of hypertrophy with the higher rep ranges. So it's something that I did a lot when I first started lifting, and I really wanted to add it back into some of my lifts for the next few months. And sometimes you overestimate yourself and end up only doing one for the last set. As you can see, my microphone started having some difficulties, so in here I'm just explaining that I'm about to do some Bulgarian split squats, and I like to do a barbell back rack for these instead of holding dumbbells because it lets me load my legs more aggressively instead of being limited by my grip, which becomes a factor when you start doing farmer's carry or dumbbell hold Bulgarian split squats. Last but not least, I had my Metcon, and I actually had to modify this a little bit from what I had originally programmed because I've been having some issues with my shoulder, and I'm going to get that checked out soon, but it was really giving me a lot of trouble today, so I had to modify the overhead things that I had planned. So I ended up doing 3 rounds of 10 sandbags over the shoulder at 100 pounds, 10 shuttle runs, 50 feet of handstand walking, and then 50 feet of dual dumbbell walking lunges.
So as you can see, my microphone was giving me a little bit of trouble again. So I got up at 4:30 on Sunday morning so that I could go do this long trail run out in the mountains, about an hour and a half from where I'm currently living. So I got up and I got my carbs and electrolytes mixed all up and got my snacks so that I would have plenty of fuel before heading out to the trail. I probably could have woken up just a little bit later, but I really wanted to see the sunrise while I was driving. And because I live in the desert, it gets to be in the high 90s and hundreds in the afternoon. So I wanted to get my full hike slash run down before it got too hot in the afternoon. So I made sure I got all of my stuff ready to go, got plenty of fuel so that I would feel good on the whole route. And I did actually look up um, various hikes in these mountains close to where I live. And of course, I did what I always do and I looked up which ones were the most difficult. And I chose one of those. And I don't know why I was surprised when I got out there that it ended up being a lot more elevation gain and rocks than I expected. But all in all, it was a pretty good time. I had plenty of fuel during it, so I felt really good. Of course, my legs were tired, but all in all, it was a good Sunday.
Good morning. I just started my run. I'm like 3/4 of a mile. I thought I just saw a spider. And it's really nice just to be outside. I have on my backpack because I don't have a run belt or running vest yet. So hopefully I get one of those soon, but it's kind of a mixture of hiking the uphills and then running the flats and the downhills. So it's really beautiful views, and I'm really glad I came out here. Okay, I'm about an hour in. This has turned into a lot more hiking than running. I did not expect to be rock climbing up a mountain, but here we are. This is kind of what happens when I pick out trails to go on. I have a bad habit of looking at like the hardest ones and picking those, and of course it actually ends up being hard and I act surprised. But I'm an hour in. I'm gonna have a little snack, I think, and just keep enjoying the views. I just had to turn around because I realized I ran like half a mile in the wrong direction. I'm back in my car and I am on my way home. It ended up being a lot more rocks and climbing that I had anticipated. So instead of just a straight trail run, it turned into a hike slash run, which is I guess what most trail running is. But I ended up going 8 miles because I did have my accidental wrong turn and I had to cut back. But I feel pretty good. I had I think sufficient carbs before doing it to where I like felt pretty good. I know my legs are probably going to feel it a little bit more tomorrow than I would prefer, but I'm really glad that I got out of the house and did it. I'm trying to get myself out and about more, just doing things that will create memories rather than just spending time at home. So that was part of the point of doing this today. And yeah, I'm really glad that I went out and did it. I averaged about a 17-minute per mile pace with all of the climbing and there's a deer in the road. With all of the climbing and with my stops for pictures and to check the map and stuff like that. So not quite the pace that I had expected, but I did run the whole last 2 miles or so straight, and I'd say I ran like half to 2/3 of the whole thing, so not too bad. But yeah, now I am pounding water. I'm gonna have my applesauce and a protein bar. And it's 9 a.m., so I'm gonna drive home and I'm gonna eat some breakfast.
Money, drove an old car. I found out that the entire Doctor family was living incredibly extravagantly off of the institute.
He actually has really good balance.
But IBLP is modeling the exact opposite of everything that